For control Bravo. Standing by. Enemy UAV active. Friendly SAE on the way.
On your six.
UAV online.
During World War II, Germany was faced with a significant challenge with the types of weapons they were using. You had your rifles such as the Kar 98K, which were very effective for long distance engagements, but due to most of them being bolt action, they had an extremely slow rate of fire, which meant that close quarters combat wasn't really viable. So to counteract this, Germany also designed a ton of submachine guns, most famously the MP40. These had a high rate of fire, were very effective for close quarters, but due to them lacking accuracy and stopping power for longer ranges, that pretty much meant that mid to long range fights weren't really viable. And as such, Germany realized that they need a weapon to bridge the gap between these two types of firearms. Something that could combine the long range accuracy of a rifle, but also have the rapid fire capability of a submachine gun. And this is where the STG-44 comes in. By using an intermediate cartridge of 7.92 by 33mm, the STG would have more stopping power than the commonly used 9mm, but its bullets wouldn't be as heavy as most rifle rounds. This balance allowed soldiers to fire accurately at a distance while still being able to unleash a quick burst of fire when necessary. And now, whether they were fighting in trenches, urban warfare, or just facing enemies in the open field, anyone with a STG-44 had a significant advantage because they no longer needed to choose between power or speed. This made the Sturmgewehr an absolute game changer in warfare, influencing the design of many later weapons, including the famous AK-47. And even though it came too late in the war to really change the outcome, it did set the standard for future assault rifles. Alright, now the history class is over, let's get into how it performs in Modern Warfare 3. Let's start off with the damage, and this is where the STG really shines in my opinion. We're going to be looking at 46 damage to the torso as well as the arms, and 54 to the head. Meaning that if you want to speed up this time to kill, you are going to need to land all headshots, which, I mean, it's possible, especially with how easy this gun is to control, but don't expect it to happen often. However, we also deal 36 damage to the legs, which means that if you're landing all leg shots, it is going to require one extra bullet to kill, which does slow down your time to kill from 300 milliseconds on average down to about 400. Moving on to mobility, the STG is perfectly average. Besides, I guess, your regular sprint, it is slightly slower than most assault rifles, but it's nothing really noticeable. And moving on to performance, starting off with the range, this is actually one of the gun's strongest areas, featuring a base effective range of about 44.5 meters, meaning that it's tied for the best in its class with the SVA-545. However, unlike every other Modern Warfare 3 assault rifle, the bullet velocity on this gun is incredible. Its base bullet velocity comes in at 960 meters per second, which is 20% faster than the Bal-27, which is in second place with 800. It's also tied with the FAMAS for having the best in class minimum hipfire spread. However, the tag stand spread is also tied for worst in class with the FR556, so don't try to tag stance this gun. And finally, our reload time is actually best in class, coming in at around 2.5 seconds, and this also counts for our reload add time, which comes in at 1.4, so this thing reloads pretty quick. Now, to test the recoil, we could just shoot the dummies right here, but because I've already gotten pretty good with this gun and used it way too much, instead, we got the recoil plot right here. This thing is pretty much going to have a C curve to it, and this is one of the easiest patterns to control in the game. All you're going to have to do is pull down into the right and then down into the left. And these last couple shots right here, I mean, unless you're shooting a whole 30 clip at someone, it's not really going to matter all too much. Now that we got all the stats, let's move into the gunsmith, starting off with my first build, which is also my favorite. This is like my aggressive stealth rusher type of build. With this, we have that suppressed integrated barrel, gives us a slight little boost to mobility, ADS speed, and it does hurt our sprint to fire speed just by 5%, so we're not going to notice those cons pretty much at all. I go with the Jack Glassless just because it's my favorite optic in the game. To get a little more movement speed, I went ahead and went with this A70 Venom stock. However, this does hurt our recoil gun kick quite a lot. I just really wanted that extra benefit to our attack sprint speed to get us up to 7.1, as well as a nice boost to our handling, giving us an extra 7% for our ADS speed and 9% for our sprint to fire. And finally, just to get us really close to that SMG handling, we got on the Not Z3 rear grip, as well as the X10 Phantom 5. Both of these in combo work really well, with a Not giving us 17% increase to our sprint to fire speed, as well as just 2% to our ADS, and the Phantom giving us a whopping 10% to our sprint to fire and 9% to our ADS speed. It does hurt our hip fire, but with this build, you're not really going to want to hip fire at all. Now, recoil wise, this thing is actually still pretty good. All you gotta do is pull down and to the right, and this thing isn't gonna go anywhere. So you can still push the range pretty far, even though this is meant for slide canceling G Fuel addicts. And for the class, usually I go with the modular assault rig, just so that way I got scavenger. As soon as I spawn in, I got max ammo, and I can also resupply my lethals and tacticals from dead players. Equipment wise, we're running with stims, Simtexes, as well as the Muni box, just in case we can't run over some dead bodies. We'll have this in the back pocket if we run out of ammo, going on a high kill streak or whatever. For the gloves, you can go with the commando gloves or even the assault gloves if you're somebody who likes to just bunny hop around corners. As usual, I'm going to run covert sneakers just because if I'm rushing around, I don't want to be stomping around like an elephant. For the first gear slot, we got the Ghost TV camo, just so that way we can move around the map without being detected by UAVs, just in case someone is actually going on a streak. For that second gear slot, we're going to be going with the compression plate, just so that way we're getting quick fix, because trust me, the last thing you want is to go on a quad feed and then you get shot in the toe across the map by Bobby playing on his dad's TV. This build right here is so much fun to use. Even though our time to kill isn't nowhere near some of those meta SMGs, just being able to run around as fast as we can with an AR like this, it reminds me a lot of World War II and Vanguard, I can't lie. This isn't going to be like the best or most optimized way to build a gun, but for me, it's the most fun. So if you want to have fun actually playing this game, try this out, trust me. But let's say you're getting back from work or school or whatever it is you do during the day, and you just want to relax, not have to snort up some G Fuel and play like a crackhead. You just want to use the STG and chill, then I got just the thing for you. This right here is the much more chill and laid back version. This is going to be your more slow, methodical, maybe even tactical build. Whereas the aggressive build was like an angry chihuahua with rabies, this is like a big fluffy golden retriever. This thing has absolutely no recoil. It uses 2 of the new attachments introduced in season 5, which if you don't have unlocked, I do have a video showing you how to get these and also what they do. A 50 round drum, just so that way you don't have to think about reloading too much, and a big beefy stock on it that absolutely gets rid of all of your recoil problems. Now, this is going to be much slower. You're going to want to chill, kind of hold down sight lines. If you're playing objective modes like domination, hardpoint, this thing is going to be incredible. However, if you are a crackhead like me, you still can play aggressive with this. It is still possible. And also, with this, I did experiment a little bit with some of like the bigger scopes, such as the AOK or even the SE. Actually, I wasn't using this at all. This is horrible. The Corio Eagle's Eye is also a pretty good optic to use. If you're not as comfortable with like those red dots or reflexes, you can use this. It's got a 2.5 zoom, and honestly, the reticle is pretty clean as well. Now, like I said earlier, this thing has no recoil, so to actually give myself a challenge, I'll put up to 3 plates, and you can see right here, this thing is an absolute breeze. Oh, I love this gun so much. So as long as you use the gun like it was intended for, mid to long range, you're gonna excel, or in even my case, choke a nuke.
UAV ready to deploy. Recontrol Bravo.
Copy that.
Now, this class setup is going to be a little bit different. The role I was going for was kind of like a support / objective tank. So we're going to be building this class around that. Starting off with the vest, we're going to be using the engineer vest. We're going to be able to see enemy equipment, field upgrades, and kill streaks through walls. And if you really care about it, you can aim at them and then it will highlight it for the rest of your team. But the main thing I'm going for is the faster field upgrade recharge. Since we're going to be using the trophy system on this class, they can spam their nades, tacticals, whatever. We're not going to be affected, and by the time we get a couple kills or just some objective time, we're going to be able to throw down another one, which is going to save your life and your streaks a lot more than you realize. We also get 2 tactical slots, and for this I'm going to be using tear gas just to be as annoying as possible. For the lethal, the thermal barrier grenade is one of my favorites. It acts basically as like a frag and a Molotov had a baby. Now for our first perk, I'm going to be going with the marksman gloves just to reduce our sway and flinch just a little bit, but you could also use the ordnance gloves if you just want to spam lethals and tacticals and also throw down your trophy systems as fast as possible. For the boots, I gotta keep it real, I'm sticking with the covert sneakers. They're just way too powerful, but if you want to use anything else, that's perfectly fine as well. And for our first gear slot, we're going to be using EOD, just so that way if they start spamming nades on objective, we don't got a trophy system down. We aren't going to just get insta killed by a Simtex, it's going to take 2 or more. And for our second gear slot, we're actually going to go with the bone conduction headset. I don't use this a lot, but when you're playing objective and you got a lot of shots flying by you, grenades going off, kill streaks getting called in, sometimes it can just get absolutely overwhelming. So this will reduce all of that noise while also improving enemy footsteps. So if you hear someone and they're not running dead silence and they're just rushing around that corner at you, you're going to be able to turn around, aim, and be ready for them before they even know it. Especially for my dads or maybe the young ones just playing on the TV. Look y'all, if you don't got a headset, it's really hard to hear footsteps, so this should help just a little bit. You could also use the tac mask if you're just getting bombarded with like flashes and stun grenades. This is going to make you completely immune to them, so it just depends on how you're feeling. So we have 2 completely different class setups here. One meant for rushing and aggressive players, and then one meant for a slower playstyle meant to just win games. But now we have a problem. The STG was made to be versatile, and you really can't be versatile all too much with either one of these builds. So let's solve that problem. This is where the balance build comes in. We're taking the best from both class setups, meeting in the middle with a magazine size, and statistically, not leaning too hard one way or the other. We're taking the stock and the underbarrel from our aggressive build. We're also taking the quartermaster suppressor from the long range build. If you want to push the range, you still can. And if you need to play a little more aggressive, you can do that as well. And then of course, whatever optic you want to use. I feel like the Jag glassless is just perfect in every scenario. I'm sorry, I'm a glassless glazer. Whoa, that was... Now, recoil wise, this thing is very smooth as well. It doesn't really bounce all too much. Not as much as the aggressive build, but also it's not as easy as the no recoil tactical build. So you gotta put some thought process into it, but really not that much. Here's the recoil plots for the 3 builds. On the far left, we got the aggro build. In the middle, the tactical, and then on the far right, the bounce build. I should have probably flipped these 2, but whatever. And you can see no matter how you build this gun, it's going to be extremely easy to control. Now, I would definitely say that this build is by far the most optimized. It's useful in every scenario. And this ties back into our class setup, where we're going to be focusing on boosting the strengths of this gun as much as possible. Starting off with the vest, I'm actually going to be going with hardline here, or the mission control vest, my bad. This is going to reduce how long it takes for us to get our streaks, and also if we get any kill assists or crossfire assists if we're playing free-for-all, that's also going to help us earn our streaks a lot faster. Now, personally, I would probably go with score streaks rather than kill streaks for this build, unless you're someone who just doesn't play the objective at all. Just so that way, if you're like me and you kind of play the objective, and you back off, get some kills, and then get back on the objective, you'll be able to rack up your streaks as quick as possible, and then also get back to looping your streaks even faster. For the lethal and tactical, we're staying pretty simple with this. We're just running with a Simtex on flash grenade. We're not going to be playing super fast, so we won't need something like stims. And then for our field upgrade, for this, I'm just going to go with the Muni box. You can't ever go wrong with it. But if you wanted to, you could also use the portable radar if you just want to have more information on where people are coming from. And also, don't quote me on this, but I believe you can also get assists from it. I don't know though. We're going to be going with the scavenger gloves just in case we aren't running the Muni box or it's just not charged up. We'll always have a way to get some more ammo. I'm not even going to talk about this. And then for the 2 gear slots, we're going to be going with EOD as well as quick fix, just so that way we have as much survivability I think that's a word, as possible and be able to get our streaks a lot easier. And in combination with the mission control vest, be able to stay alive, get our streaks, and just keep it moving. Alright homies, I hope you enjoyed the video. This one was really fun to do. I don't know why, I had an absolute blast making this. Let me know down in the comments below what you want me to do a breakdown on next. I was thinking the static HV, but if you guys want to see something else, just let me know. And I don't ask very much, but if you did enjoy the video, please hit the like button. I would greatly appreciate it. And as always, make sure to drink some water. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.